Experts. World fells trees at an alarming rate. Scientists say global deforestation will feed global warming ever faster. Nigeria. In the gloomy shade deep in Africa's rainforest, the noontime silence was pierced by the whine of a far-off chainsaw. It was the sound of destruction, echoed from wood to wood, continent to continent, in the tropical belt that circles the globe. From Brazil to Central Africa to once lush islands, human encroachment is shrinking the world's rainforests ever faster. The alarm was sounded some decades ago by environmentalists and has been little heeded. The picture, meanwhile, has changed. Africa is now a leader in destructiveness. The numbers have changed. UN, United Nations specialists estimate at least 60 acres of tropical forest are cut down worldwide every single minute, up from 50 a generation ago. And the fears have changed also. Experts still warn of extinction of animal and plant life, of a loss of forest people's livelihoods, of soil erosion and other damage. But scientists today worry urgently about something else. The fateful feedback link of trees and climate change. Global warming is expected to dry up and kill off vast tracts of rainforest, and dying forests will feed global warming ever faster. If we lose forests, we lose the fight against climate change, declared more than 300 scientists, conservation groups, religious leaders, and others in an appeal for action at December's climate conference in Bali, Indonesia. 20% of man-made emissions, the burning or rotting of trees that comes with deforestation at the hands of ranchers, farmers, timbermen, sends more heat-trapping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than all the world's planes, trains, trucks, and automobiles. Forest destruction accounts for approximately 20% of man-made emissions, second only to burning of fossil fuels for electricity and heat. Conversely, healthy forests absorb carbon dioxide and store carbon. The stakes are so dire that if we don't start turning this around in the next few years, the extinction crisis and the climate crisis will begin to spiral out of control. The tipping point. It is a very big deal, said a forest expert with Greenpeace International. The December United Nations session in Bali may have been a turning point, endorsing negotiations in which nations may fashion the first global financial plan for compensating developing countries for preserving their forests. Let's hope so. The latest data from the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, helped spur delegates to action. Deforestation continues at an alarming rate of approximately 13 million hectares, or 32 million acres, at least a year, the United Nations body said in its latest State of the World's Forests report. Because northern forests remain essentially stable, that means 50,000 square miles of tropical forest are being cleared every 12 months, equivalent equivalent to one Mississippi or more than half a Great Britain. The lumber and fuel wood removed in the tropics alone would fill more than 1,000 Empire State Buildings, FAO figures show. Different causes. Although South America loses slightly more acreage than Africa, the rate of loss is higher here. Almost 1% of African forests gone each year. In 2000 to 2005, the continent lost 10 million acres a year, including huge chunks of forest in Sudan, Zambia, and Tanzania, up from 9 million a decade earlier, the FAO reports. Observed the World Wildlife Fund's Duncan Pollard. Suddenly, you have the whole world looking at deforestation. But in many ways, rainforests are still a world of unknowns. How many cures for diseases be in there? How many things be undiscovered that they're rapidly cutting down, we are rapidly losing? It is a place with more scientific questions than answers. How much carbon dioxide are forests absorbing? How much carbon is stored there? How might the extinction or death of the Amazon forest affect the climate in, say, the American Midwest? Hundreds of researchers are putting in thousands of hours of work trying to solve these questions, or trying to answer such questions before it is too late. Yes, tropical forests are connected to global warming and climate change.